everybody. Good morning and welcome back. I cannot believe we're now at week 4 of English Live Series 2. It's just crazy how fast the time is flying. But it could do with flying a little bit faster and getting us out the other side of this lockdown when it's safe to. So today we're going to be looking at assonance and sibilance, which are two different poetic devices that they creep out into a lot of poetry. We don't always notice it, but after today's lesson, hopefully you'll be spotting it throughout all the poems that you read. And you might even be able to start talking about the effect of assonance and sibilance. But before we get on with the lesson today, there are some shout outs. So Mummy English, as always, has been extremely busy collecting all of your lovely shout outs to each other from the live chat. So here we go. Cue me getting really out of breath because there are so many of you. So hello to Elizabeth, who has done all of my lessons since day one. Rosalind says hi. Hi, Rosalind. Ollie is in South Africa. Hi, Ollie. Lovely to have you. Dolce in Taunton. Layla says hi. Wonderful, Layla, that you can join us today. Rebby in Stebbing. Shout out to Fletcher, who was 14 yesterday. Happy birthday, Fletcher. And Kaylee as well, who is 11. Hello to Ellie, who is 9, who's eating chocolate cake. And I think I just saw in the chat, actually, that she's finished her chocolate cake. I think I might have to have some chocolate cake after this lesson. Sounds delicious. Hello to Marina and Axa. Hello to Elizabeth, who is 9 in Sheffield. Alex says hi. Well, hi to you, Alex. Lilia is 11. Hello, Lilia. Ollie and Lucy. Eva. Hello to the Erlangs in Scotland. Hello, all of you. And hello to George, who is 10 in Somerset, and a big hello to Rose. So I will bring some more shout outs to you a little bit later in the lesson. But for now, it's probably good to get started with some learning. So I'm going to start today's lesson off with something that was very popular during last summer's English Live lessons. And it's a very simple starter activity, but it gets our brains moving around a little bit. And hopefully it will really drive home the spelling of the word assonance and sibilance. So I'm going to try and bring my very technologically advanced board into shot here. There we go. Give that a little turn. So how many words can you make using the letters from the words assonance or sibilance? Or if you're really quick, you can do one and then do the other. If I can get this to stay still. Okay, maybe not. This might be one of those lessons where I have to hold the board. Okay, you've got 1 minute. Off you go. Play. Well done, Noah. Well done, Dolce. Well done, Harriet. Scarlett says lots. Yep, lots of words. Well done. Okay, lovely. So a little warm up for you there. Hopefully your brains are all warmed up and you're ready to go. So we need the board for this lesson. So I don't want to slide it too far out because it's a bit wobbly today. We don't really want to end up holding each bit of information up for you. So the first thing that we're going to look at is assonance. Now, this is the one that you're more likely to be familiar with out of assonance and sibilance. What is assonance? Now, I've got 3 examples for you. Loose boots, smelly wellies, and West is blessed. Can you come up with a definition? Okay, I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet. You might already know. But using those examples, can you try and work out what you think assonance might be? Remember, it's a poetic device. It's a technique that can be used in poetry. Okay. As always, you can call your answers out loud to the screen. You can put your answers in the live chat, jot them down on a piece of paper, talk to somebody at home that you're working with. There's lots of different ways that you can enjoy and participate in these lessons. Okay, you've got 1 minute. Good luck. Off you go. Play.
You can't wait on their affirmation. You can't wait on their approval. You can't wait on their support. Sometimes you just gotta run and look behind you and say, everybody who wants to run, but I can't stop running because you're not running. Listen to me, hear me. You can't stop chasing your dream just because somebody in your life is chasing with you. You can't stop believing in yourself just because somebody in your life will believe in you. You can't stop chasing the dreams of your life just because when you know if you do it, you're gonna have to do it all by yourself.
Okay, Wondercrafters say that assonance is rhyming. Okay, can you be more specific? Lovely. Harriet says 2 words with the same sound in them. What sort of sound? What sound is repeated in these examples? Hello, Esther and Elena. Okay, someone says half rhyming. Okay, so somebody else has said, so Noah says it could be 2 rhyming words, but where the second word describes the first word. Would that work for the first example, though? Millie and Goose. Oh, Lucy, well done. Some of you have nailed it now. Pause. Okay, excellent. Yeah, some of you have nailed it. You have worked out what assonance is. It is a repetition of sound, but not just any sound. I was going to give an example then, and I could end up standing here for ages to think of one with total baby brain at the moment. It's a repetition of vowel sounds. Okay, so in the first example, the O, loose boots, that's an example of assonance, the repetition of the vowel sounds. In the second one, the E, smelly, welly, and of the Y and the IES on the end as well. That provides that repetition of that E sound or I sound. And West is blessed. That also has a repetition of vowel sounds. And I use this example here to show you that the words don't necessarily need to look the same. They don't have to have the same patterns. I could have put West is best. It would have been an example of assonance, but I wanted to show you that you can use words that don't necessarily rhyme, but the vowel sound within the word does rhyme. Okay, so it's the vowel sound, not necessarily the whole word. Okay, do you think you've got assonance? I think you have. Okay, Now what I'd like you to do is to come up with your own examples of assonance. See if you need to set yourself a challenge that's difficult for you, okay, that's going to challenge you. So are you going to find 2, 3 or 4 word examples where the same vowel sound is repeated in all of the words? Now, you can have connecting words in between, so of, and, in. That's absolutely fine. They don't have to be words that are side by side. They can be in a sentence. Have a go. See what you can come up with. You've got about 1 minute. Off you go. Good luck. Play. Oh, lovely. Cheesy knees. Great. Or cheesy weasels. That would be assonance. We've got greasy knees. Little spittle. Lots of 2-word examples. Let's see if we can get 3 or 4-word examples. Yep, tidy Heidi, that's one. Mouse in the house. Making baking. Funny bunny. Jelly in my belly is yummy in my tummy. Home alone with the phone is one. That's really good. Home alone with the phone.
You can't wait on their affirmation. You can't wait.
Blue glue on your shoe. Excellent. That's a great example because it's not necessarily the same letters. It's the same vowel sounds. Really good.
You can't stop chasing your dream just because somebody in your life will chase you. You can't stop believing in yourself just because somebody in your life will believe in you. You can't stop chasing the dreams of your life just because when you know what you do it, you're gonna.
Pause. Okay, fab work, everybody. If you are watching this on catch up and you want some more time, or you're thinking, yeah, I've got a 2-word example, I've got a 3-word example, but I really want to get that 4-word example, then you can just pause the video, spend a bit more time on this, and then finish off the lesson. But for those of you watching live, or those of you that have already come up with plenty of examples of assonance, we're now going to move on to look at sibilance. Okay, now sibilance is a different poetic device, a different technique used in poetry, but it is similar. So I've got 3 examples here, and I'd like you to try and work out what sibilance is. Swish swash, sausage and sauce, smile sometimes. Let's see if you can work it out. And if you can, or even if you can't, see if you can come up with a definition of what you think it might be. Good luck. Play. Someone said it's alliteration. It's not quite just alliteration. It's more specific than that. Yep, Lucy, it's like alliteration, but it's more specific. Okay, somebody says rhyming consonants. Nice idea, because that would be the opposite of almost the opposite of assonance, but not quite. P. McLean says the repetition of letters, not vowels. Lots of really clever ideas. I like how you're thinking outside the box and looking very closely at the examples. Charlene, well done. Actually, Charlene, I think that's Ollie, isn't it? If that's you, Ollie, well done. Pause. Okay, let's go through this, because lots of you are coming up with ideas and you're getting closer and closer and closer. So sibilance is the repetition of the S or the SH sound in poetry. Now, it doesn't have to be at the start of words, and I looked at my examples and thought they all start with an S, but that's not essential in sibilance. So whilst I'm doing this, you can be one step ahead of me and trying to work out where all of those S and SH sounds are. There's 4 in the first example: swish, swash. Even though there's a C in the word source, it's still the sound, okay? We're not looking at the letters, we're looking at the sound. Okay, you're starting to see now. It's that repetition of Okay, so I'm going to talk you through some more examples and try and explain to you why poets might choose to use sibilance in their work, and why you might choose to use sibilance in your poetry if you do today's challenge task. So, swooping and swishing birds in the sunset. That's a lovely sentence. It describes birds flying around in the sky, and the repetition of that S sound. Use your ears. What does that sound like? Oh gosh, my pen's leaking. I'm not bleeding. So a poet in this example might choose to use lots of S sounds because it might actually sound like the birds swooping and swishing. If you think about words that are onomatopoeic, so words that sound like their meaning, this is very closely aligned to that. So swooping and swishing birds in the sunset. Oh, there's another S there that I missed. So the poet might be trying to recreate the sound of the birds flying down, swooping through the air, past the narrator or the person experiencing that. Then the next example, sizzling sausages. This is such a great example. Now, if you imagine that you've got a frying pan with lots of sausages in it and they're sizzling away, what do they sound like? Use your ears. Sizzling sausages. The poet or the writer, doesn't necessarily need to be used exclusively in poems, is using the repetition of the S sound to recreate the sound of those sausages being cooked, what it actually sounds like. And finally, slimy, slithering serpents. What noise does a snake make? Snake make, that's assonance. So if you're writing a poem about snakes or serpents, using lots of words that have the S or sh sound in them can recreate the sound of the snakes, and it adds to a more sensory enjoyment of the topic and of the writing. Slimy, slithering serpents. Okay, now it's time for you to have a go at this. Can you come up with your own examples of sibilance? And once again, I'd like you to try using 2, 3, or 4 word examples. And if you're really trying to stretch yourself, you might try and look for examples where you're trying to recreate the sound of what you're talking about. So like in my example of sausages or snakes or something else. Good luck, off you go. Play. Slippery sushi. That's a great example, Heidi. Soap suds in the shower. I like that one. And if you think about rubbing soap suds on, they might sound a little bit like... So that could be a good one for recreating the sound.
Listen to me, hear me.
Sally made silly sounds. Lovely, Lil's World. Brilliant work.
You can't stop believing in yourself just because somebody in your life won't believe.
Lachlan, fabulous. I was wondering if anyone would do a sea-based one. The skimming stones splashed into the salty sea. Perfect. Really good example, Lachlan. Well done. Lots of you coming out with she sells seashells on the seashore. That's a great example as well. If you think about the sound of the seaside, the sound of the waves, the sound that you can hear when you hold a shell up to your ear. There's lots of type sounds. Pause. Okay, brilliant examples from you all, in fact, and lots of you really nailing those 4-word examples of sibilance. Now, this is a great thing to practice. You can have a lot of fun with it. So maybe even after the lesson today, or if you're watching on catch up, you can pause. You can come up with lots of other examples. You can just let your imagination run wild. But before we come to the very end of our lesson today, I do have some more shout outs. So I just want to say really big hello to Oscar, who is 11 in Yorkshire. Hello to Robbie and Stephen. Robbie's at home and Stephen's at boarding school, and they're both doing the lessons. So hello to both of you. Hello to Colin and Juliet. Lovely to see that you're joining today, guys. Hello to Tony in Gravesend. Hello to Caris, who is 11 in Bradford. Hang Yi in Sittingbourne loves the lessons. Hi, Hang Yi. You come to lots of my weekly classes as well, don't you? Mary and Hannah, who are cousins, and they're doing it on video call, and they both love the lessons. That's awesome, girls. So you're having a lesson together in separate households online. Amazing what the world is like these days. So hello to Freya and Toby. Hello to Navia, who is 10 in Chelmsford. Ariadna, who is 10, hello to you. And a big shout out to Sam and his dog, Coco. Hello, Sam, and hello, Coco. Woof. So hopefully now you've got a good idea of what assonance and sibilance are. You might have an idea of why a poet would choose to use sibilance. Choose to use, of course, is an example of assonance. They're everywhere. You're going to be spotting them all over the place now. And I'd like you to think about doing today's challenge. Today's challenge is to write a poem on a topic of your choice that uses both assonance and sibilance. You might pick a seaside setting, or a cooking setting, or a cooking poem because of the sound of sizzling and cooking, or snakes, or you might pick something completely different altogether. It's entirely up to you. Have a really good think about how you can use the sounds that you create using these techniques in a poem, in a thematic poem. And then a star challenge for those of you that really want to push yourselves. Look up poems that use sibilance and try to explain the effect of the repetition of the S or SH sound. So look for poems that include it in there, include it, and see if you can link it to the theme or the sound effects that the poet might have been trying to recreate. So I'll bring this a little bit closer for you. Remember, even if you are watching live, you can come back to this video and pause it so you can see what the challenge is. And when you've completed the challenge work, you can upload it to the Holly's English Hub Facebook group. That's where people share photographs of their work, and we can all congratulate you on your fabulous work. So this brings me to the end of today's lesson. Make sure you can see that. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you found it useful. I hope that you can apply what you've learned to understanding poetry and to writing your own poetry. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a live comprehension lesson on the story of 1984 by George Orwell, which has been spoken about a lot over the last year, so it's very relevant. And on Friday, of course, I have the spellathon, and the spellings are up on the Facebook and Instagram pages for you to access whenever you want them. Have a lovely afternoon. Have a lovely rest of the day and the evening, and I will see you tomorrow at 11. Bye.